ready to go.
Cool. Me too. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series of Fireside Chats by WomenTech Network. We are inviting phenomenal and outstanding women to inspire and empower you to grow professionally. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Yaliwe Soko, South Africa Ecosystem Lead at cLabs, chairwoman of United Africa Blockchain Association, founder of Essence Crypto Consultants, as well as United Africa Women in Blockchain and Ethereum Foundation DevCon alumni. She was also one of our amazing speakers at WomenTech Global Conference 2020. Hi, Yaliwe, and welcome.
Hi, Anna, and thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you with us. Thanks for your time. For everyone who is tuning in, feel free to ask your questions in the chat or in the comment. And whenever you hear something that resonates with you, please do let us know in the comments. So let's get started. Yaliwe, how did you become passionate about blockchain and cryptocurrencies? And what were some of the biases that you encountered on the way? It is so highly male-dominated space.
Firstly, to be very honest, it was more about looking for an alternative, looking for something that was going to make me relevant for the future. And I had interaction with cryptocurrencies because at some point I was earning in crypto. So I started to dig deeper into the technology. And then I came to realize that this was actually beyond cryptocurrencies. It was something that could actually change a lot of things, not only change, maybe improve, and also just impact a lot of lives. So I decided to be quite involved in researching, and I started developing a curriculum to really teach myself, which I ended up using to teach other women. And the sole purpose of the meetup was to really look at opportunities. What opportunities are in the space? How do we tap in? So that's where it all started.
Interesting. So you've been earning actually and then you decided also to start educating yourself, and you started educating other women, right?
Yeah.
There is someone famous said, when you educate a woman, when you educate a woman, she will empower other people. So this is really cool that you have started. And how in general was, did you encounter any biases, that you're a woman, or did people said okay, but this is more of a guy's space, or how was it? Or you didn't maybe feel anything like that?
Oh, I did, especially in the beginning. So it's does she really know what she's talking about? Before you even open your mouth to speak, right? And so the moment you speak and everybody's like, oh, wow. So, and then they start warming up to you a little bit more. So it also came with the confidence of saying, look, I'm not here by mistake. I'm here because I belong here, and you're going to hear me out whether you like it or not. So eventually people start to believe in you and believe in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it takes some extra efforts, right? You need to kind of extra prove yourself that you know your stuff, right? Because people start to judge you, right?
Of course, you actually have to work harder. Well, before you had to work harder, but I think now things are changing a little bit. But before then, it was okay, you could be the only woman in the room or the only woman among the speakers. So does she really know what she's talking about? And especially when you come from a non-technical background.
Right. So you need to kind of make sure that they understand this, that you know the stuff. And in one interview, you mentioned that there are often trust issues when it comes to working with African women. Is this trend going down?
I think it is actually going down because there've been a number of players in the space, and most of them
yourself, actually. I think you're contributing towards actually changing.
Yes, a lot of women have really come up and they're doing their best. So they've been recognized. So it has really, really changed. I'm seeing women pushing.
Right. I'm very happy to hear that, to be honest. When it comes to global citizenship, what it actually means and how someone can become part of it. And do you consider yourself to be a global citizen?
Yes, I am. And I would say that because I'm involved in technology, and technology has changed a lot of things. Technology has made the world smaller, right? Right now, people can even participate financially. I mean, you can send money across through the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. There's so many things that are coming up, like you and I right now are having this chat, and
Yeah.
this all just brings everything together. So the world has become smaller. Technology has been a great catalyst. So, and I have been participating, but you only become a global citizen once you begin to participate in this global economy and to make a contribution to the global economy.
So for people who maybe are not familiar with the definition, what does it mean, global citizenship? What does it mean to be a global citizen right now?
To be a global citizen it's being able to impact globally. It's being able to participate financially, right? It's being able to be a voice. You might not always be out there outspoken, but in your own way, you're able to tap into this global economy, whether it's through technology, you're able to interact, you're able to send, receive money, you're able to create solutions that bring change. And that change could not only be, it's not only for your demographic, it's a change that cuts across borders and cuts across spheres. So that's what it actually means, right?
Yeah.
A long time, I always give this example. A long time, if I needed to do or to work with a company in Europe, coming from Africa, I had to get a passport, I had to get a visa, and I had to travel, right, in order for me to make an impact. Even for people coming into Africa, most of the times they had to travel to Africa, get visas, and really come and make an impact. But now all that is changing. I can make an impact from exactly where I'm sitting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like it creates no borders and everyone can join from any part of the world, right? So does it mean that everyone can become a global citizen, or what it takes? Maybe does it take some skills? Does it take some kind of, like, for example, to have a growth mindset? What does it take?
Anyone can become a global citizen. I think it's just actually where do you want to participate, right? In that whole, and where do you want to participate? Where do you want to sit? There in life, there are people who are key players, there are people who are innovators, there are people who are users of products. So where do you see yourself, right? I think anybody can become a global citizen, but it depends on where you see yourself and at what level do you want to participate.
Right. So you need to determine for yourself and then work toward that goal, right?
Exactly.
In this case, do you need to have to surround yourself with people who consider themselves, for example, to be global citizens, so they can kind of help you or like take you to their circle, or and like you can acquire their mindset, for example, or the thing that they are doing a certain way?
Definitely. I believe people really resonate to people who look like them, right? People need their own heroes. And for example, women would look at another woman and say, wow, she actually did that. I can do that also, right? So people are always looking for heroes, and they want heroes who look like them. So once they're able to tap, and for those heroes, I think it's once you get there, don't look down on other people. Try to bring them along, because I think that's what actually cuts people off, right? It's, look, I did it, you can do it. I might not always be available, but whenever I am available, I can be available. I will be there to actually lend a helping hand.
Right.
So also,
so help people, right, to come as basically high as you are, for example, or as close to what you are doing, right? Who were some of the important maybe role models for you, or like mentors they have impacted you, or like you kind of didn't have them just go your way, like, I can do that. Okay, I don't have any role models, but I can do that.
yeah, I think for me, it was Oprah. I love Oprah, and also I love President Paul Kagame. He's from Rwanda, so there's something about him that always resonates. I'm like, actually, you know what? I want to be like those people somehow. I mean, they might not be the most positive people to some people, but there's something in them that actually triggers me.
Right. I think in one interview you mentioned that you would really love to have a meeting with the president, right?
Oh yes,
yeah. Why not? I mean, like it can happen.
Exactly.
I think that we should dream as big as possible, because what if our dreams can come true, right? How it would impact
dreams
our
do come
lives,
true.
right?
I mean, I think it's as far as you can see, right? So once you can see it, you can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coming back to the whole field of blockchain and cryptocurrency, when we look at the numbers of women in tech in the world, they are dramatically low, right? And despite the fact that cryptocurrency and blockchain are set to become one of the largest disruptive technologies in the world, I know that the situation with women in blockchain is actually not better. The statistics show that it's like only 5 to 7% of all the cryptocurrency users are women. What do you think is the main reason for that? Like why there are not so many women in this field?
Okay, so I'm just gonna tackle this kind of a general situation. So women are always coming from the back, right? So it was a situation where we came from the back because from way back, from our grandparents and our parents, it was more like, look, a woman's place is at home, right? So a lot of women at a particular point in their lives aspired to be married women, to be wives, to be mothers, and all those other things, right? So it was like, look, your place is in the kitchen and raising the children at home. The man has to go and work. The man has to have a career and come back and provide. Then things started changing a little bit more. But then even when things started changing, there were certain careers that were for women. For example, you could be a secretary or this and this and that. A lot of women didn't have a place at the boardroom table, right? And eventually the gender equality started kicking in, and there was a push and a push. So remember, we're coming from the back, right? It's like it's a race, and we still need to catch up because we're looking at men in certain industries and let alone the tech space who have been in corporate for a very long time, for years and years and years, and they're still there, right? And then there's still more men upcoming. So women who are really pushing are kind of our generation, right? Are kind of pushing boundaries. And that's why I said, I think women need to see more women doing things. And then they'll look at it and say, look, she has done it. Why can't I do it? And also, it also comes back to the home environment. I know from an African perspective, I'm going to quote my grandmother, but may her soul rest in peace. But I know sometimes she'll say, you know what, you're very smart, you're very ambitious, but at the end of the day, you will get married and there's certain things that you need to do. And I'm like, no, I will get married, but I have to be me, right? I have to achieve my very best. So it's been there. So we're breaking out of it and coming to this point. Well, my mom is one of those women that says, look, go and do what you have to do at this particular point, run your race, right? So there's a change. And now there's women like us who are coming up, and there's younger women who are following us. So I think everything is going to gradually change.
Right. It just will take time, but we need not to give up and like continue pushing and continue being like, ourselves. For example,
my younger sisters have a very different perception because they see me doing certain things, right? So things begin to change.
Right. I like that. So, you're a chairwoman at the United African Blockchain Association. What does the association do and what the progress has been done so far?
Well, the association is mainly looking at really changing the way we perceive technology and blockchain and really providing solutions through education, skills development. We're looking at gender equality. But our main focus right now has been education because, look, I can't come and develop skills when people don't even understand the basics of blockchain technology, right? Yeah. So we're also trying to drive a lot of usability in terms of the technology through partnerships. So far, we started a pilot for the train the trainer. Well, our main goal is to educate 1 million people in Africa on blockchain technology. Wow. So we've started our pilots and we'll be moving along with the trainings, though we are not doing it at the capacity that we want to do it, right? Because all of this is more of, okay, we're passionate, we're pushing, there's not much external support, but we have to keep moving and we have to keep doing what we are doing. And so far, a lot of people have been coming on board and saying, look, I want to volunteer, I want to train, or maybe I just want to be part of this. I want to be part of the classes. So we normally, ever since COVID started, we're supposed to be having our classes on site, but we're now conducting our train the trainer classes online. And we had our first cohort in April, which was our pilot, and it was very successful. So now we're trying to really scale it and move forward. Though the thing is that the interest has been phenomenal, because even the demographics, right? We had people from as young as 12 and to people as old as 58 are registering for the course. So it gave us a lot of hope.
So it sounds like, it's cross generations, right? Because there is a need to educate different age groups. And did you notice like any trend, like for example, that younger generation is perceiving it easier, and they understand, they get it, and the elder generation, for example, are a little bit like they need more time, for example, to perceive?
So for the older generation, it was more about, okay, we've been hearing about blockchain and we've been hearing about cryptocurrencies. So maybe there's a possibility of making money, maybe they're going to show us how to make money. And then the younger generation is like, look, I want to learn this. I want to be part of this, I want to develop, I want to be somebody, I want to pursue a career. So that was one of the aspects, but the enthusiasm was great. A lot of questions were asked. So it showed that we made it very basic for even for a layman to understand. So I think it really helped with the generation, but the younger generation were really hungry for more.
Right. Yeah. Did you have more participants that you expected to have offline, or how did the situation with with COVID? How did it impact you actually, this project?
Actually, we actually had more than we had expected, because it was just during lockdown and people were so anxious. There were a lot of things going on. So we didn't expect that much of a turnout, especially after shifting everything and looking at the situation of, let's say, participants from South Africa. I consider South Africa to be one of the most expensive countries when it comes to internet to data, right? So if people can be willing to say, look, I want to learn, I'm going to log into Zoom, and I'm willing to pay the data expense, it really encouraged us.
Right, cool. And I want to talk more about your journey. And in 2019, you've been selected as a DevCon V Scholar amongst 50 other candidates from all over the world, and to participate in the Ethereum Foundation's blockchain and cryptocurrencies programming. Yeah. So tell us more about this experience. It was in Japan, right? How did it enrich you? What did you expect? What was what was the reality, and what you have managed to learn then to bring actually back to Africa?
Definitely. So actually, when I got the news that I was selected, it was on my birthday. I was like, oh, early birthday present.
Was it actually, before we just dive in, was it difficult? Did you okay, I saw it, I want to go there, I just apply, or thought maybe I won't fit? How was it, your feeling?
No, it was actually a friend of mine who's also on the board of UABA and quite influential in the things that I've been doing. Sent me the link and said, hey, you need to apply for this, right? So I said, okay, why not? And I applied for it. I got selected, and the journey started way before Japan. So we had classes, and I had my first interaction with smart contracts, and it was really great getting to meet a lot of people from around the world. I met a lot of friends, but it also showed me something. It showed me that, what, as long as you put your mind to it, anything is possible, right? Because this was a group of people, very smart people with diverse backgrounds. We had developers. I'm here, I have no technical background, right? And I'm tackling this, and I'm telling myself, you know what? I came here to represent Africa. I came to win, right? I came to change the perception of what Africa is and the people that are in Africa. So I pushed my boundaries, and I became top learner. And I was very proud, because actually at that particular time, I'd also put Africa on the map.
Cool, I like that. What was some, I don't know, projects that you worked on what kind of people that you met that maybe impacted you? Maybe it's just one person, maybe all. You mentioned people from diverse background. I really like that, but I think the diversity of perspectives and the diversity of thought really enriches you, right, as a person, regardless of the program that you are in. But other than that, how maybe share more about the program and the process. What you expected, or it was totally a different experience that you thought it will be?
I think it was actually a totally different experience. I think it took us back to what blockchain really is. We actually started learning it from the ground again, right? We looked at the white papers, we looked at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the Ethereum white papers. It actually tested our creativity in terms of writing. It actually brought out that diversity of allowing you to be yourself, right? To express your culture as well, to write in your language. Gave us a great interaction with the development part of the technology. And for some of us who are not really technical, that was a very nice experience. And also the classes that the lessons from Consensus were actually really amazing as well. And just the support that we got in general from the whole Ethereum Foundation team and the DevCon team, as well as from the program director, Robert Greenfield. So we really had a great experience, and we were taken care of, we were educated.
What would you recommend someone who is thinking to apply to this? Probably they went online, right? I think they should have another cohort. So maybe some recommendations from your experience while filling out the application, what that would be.
I think, look, the scholarship gives an opportunity for people who might not be able to make it on their own, right, to a DEFCON because it's expensive, but also it looks for people who have been trying really hard, right? Who have been pushing boundaries. As long as you've been doing something in the space, give it a shot. I mean, you could be selected, and I didn't know I would be selected, to be very honest. I just applied for it, and I have that thing of, look, it's here. Why not, right? It doesn't kill you to apply. So be truthful about your abilities. There's nothing difficult. Put in your CV what you have done, what you wish to do. I don't know what the application form looks like right now, but I mean, the opportunities are there.
Right. Yeah, just give it a try.
Especially for women as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As a leader of South Africa ecosystem at cLabs, what is your role and what challenges are you tackling working on Celo? And for those who are not familiar with Celo, what would it would be good to share what actually this open source platform is doing.
Okay. Right. So I'm working with cLabs, and cLabs is the organization that's working on Celo. Celo is an open source blockchain, and really the main mission of Celo is to build tools that provide the conditions of prosperity for everyone. Celo is mobile first, so I think that's a challenge that we have really had in the blockchain space. Is the complexity, right? So anyone with a budget smartphone can actually participate on the Celo blockchain, and also I'll give you an example of the Valora wallet. You can receive Celo dollars, right, which is the stable coin, just by using a cell phone number. I think that has been a major problem in terms of blockchain and cryptocurrency adoption, right? People are really struggling when it comes to the complexities. And so what I'm really trying to do is to look at what solutions do we bring to the people, right? We're trying to create the conditions of prosperity for everyone. So, and also building a community that really trusts in Celo. And also another thing that I'm really, I'll just say really tackling is empowerment, right? Empowering the communities through blockchain technology. This is blockchain usability brought to the people, because people can't come to the table if they're not able to use the products that are developed for them. So that is what we're really trying to bring to the people of South Africa. Looking at looking at their culture, right? So this is the culture in South Africa. How do we develop tools that also enhance that culture, right? And really help them to be stakeholders when it comes to blockchain technology.
Cool. And in general, talking about Africa, we touched today a lot, which is, of course, because you're representing the country and you're doing lots into making it a really cool space and include many people to participate also financially. How can blockchain be used for socio-economic good in Africa and in the world in general? And maybe what are some of the obstacles on the way to adopting blockchain in Africa?
Okay, So when you look at Africa, blockchain has a lot of use cases. Sometimes I don't know where to start, right?
Oh yeah,
So
let's start from the main, pain points, right? That would really
yeah,
dramatically change and the growth of the economy.
yeah. So an example is stable coins. Stable coins can really help with inflation, right? If you look at most of the African countries and their currencies, they're just not stable at all. And I'll give an example of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, I don't even think Zimbabwe has a currency, right? Zimbabwe at one point is using the dollar, and another point is using the South African rands. So blockchain can bring about stable coins that can really help stabilize the economy. We're also talking about trade, right? Cross-border trade and cross-border transactions. One example, and I'll always say, is that every time you need to travel across Africa, you have to either convert your local currency into the United States dollar, and when you get to that other country, you have to convert it into the local currency. You've lost money along the way, and it's really expensive. And also just conducting trade. Trade is really expensive, right? And another thing is the voting systems, right? Very porous voting systems. There are a lot of people, again, that are unbanked, right? They don't have bank accounts, or they don't have access to financial services. They're marginalized. I think blockchain can change all that. So another one is national IDs, right? A lot of people don't have IDs, so they cannot participate in the country's economy. They cannot also participate in a lot of things. So the land registrations, for example, I'll give you this example of what happened in Zambia at one time. So somebody owned 48 houses that collected rent every single month, and nobody could find the owner. How is that possible? You see, so corruption is, so there's a lot of things, and the educational systems as well. There are a lot of people that are sitting in positions that they don't even qualify for, right? Just because they know somebody who's there, or maybe their uncle ever is sitting in an
Yeah,
office.
whatever connection is, yeah.
Exactly. And because there's no proper verification of these documents, right, of qualifications, all those are pain points for a lot of people. There's a lot of unemployment, and people sitting with their bachelor's degrees and all these diplomas, and there's no employment because of nepotism. So there are a lot of pain points that if we begin to name them, we'll be like, okay, this and this and this and this and this and this and this, that we might have to find solutions to eventually. But yeah, it's not an easy thing, but the pain points are there.
There are some points that you are focusing on that, for example, I don't know, maybe like you feel like this is part of my mission and that's what I want to change. Because of course, let's say we cannot change everything right ahead, but we can gradually do. So maybe what are the pain points that you are working on?
Right now is access to financial services, especially for women. So I'm working on a project called Umoja, which was actually shortlisted by UNICEF Innovation. So it's more like I looked at the South African woman, and I looked at not only the South African woman, actually the African woman, because you find that they're not able to meet their monthly expenses even if they're working. So they always go to loan sharks. I don't know if those are popular where you come from, but they go to loan sharks and get loans at 50% interest. That is 30-day loans.
Crazy, yeah.
And these loan sharks are very dangerous.
Because
So
the
anything can
sharks.
happen. Anything can happen if they can't afford to pay back, right? So it could be sexual abuse, it could be physical abuse, it could be anything. So, but on a regular basis, these women, if not on a monthly basis, are always borrowing money. So how do we help them? And also put together some kind of a marketplace for empowerment purposes. Look, here you are, you can buy and sell products from each other to empower yourselves. How do we make access to loans at a very low interest rate? How do we make loans accessible at a very low interest rate? So that has been my focus for some time now. And it's like I said, and all this is a product being built on the blockchain. And it's looking at, look, we solve one problem at a time, right? So you solve a problem at that particular time that is not so big that you have to involve a lot of people, but you solve a problem that you see very close to home.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I mean, 50% sounds really crazy, and the consequences, I mean, they're life-threatening, and not talking about, like, you know, that they're dangerous. I mean, this is crazy
Exactly.
what you're
Sometimes
telling.
they can't make it to work. So you find that mid-month, from the 15th, they can't make it to work because they don't have transport money to work. So they have to go to work in order for them to get paid. They have to go and borrow money.
Yeah. So when you talk to these women, to your target audience, right? How do they feel? Do they feel like, you know, there is a hope and they want to try? As the first, is they like feel not sure, I want to trust, it's probably complicated, I won't get it. How do they react? And what some success cases that you have already
so far
done?
So far what I did is started it not on the blockchain, but started it kind of offline, right? Kind of, hey, look, here's a Google Doc. You can apply for a loan in groups of 3 to 5, collateral free, and it's trust is the only collateral there. So bring a group of women that you really trust, and here's funds made available to you in the same range that they normally borrow, right? And least it's less risky and not expensive. Let's try it at 10%. How does that work for you, right? So you started off with something that is very comfortable for them, right? And then you start to now evolve and move them over to a different platform. It's like school, right? So from school, I'll give an example of Africa. I think from like nursery school to grade 1, maybe to a certain grade, you start writing in pencil, right? And from a certain grade, you now evolve, say, hey, now you'll be using pens, or now you have access to computers, you know. So you start with them at a level that is comfortable for them, and you start to move them into something by teaching them what it is.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, to start with what they know and can perceive, can understand, for example, like a Google Doc, right? And
It's
then
like,
say, hey, right? Not like just right ahead, saying, hey, we were doing this, you know, it's blockchain based.
Exactly.
I was like, what is that? Like,
Exactly.
I'm going to take 60% now. So yeah, like you need to gradually build trust, and you need to start at the things that are tangible and that are understandable by your target audience. Yeah.
It's like the bank, right? They start you with, okay, open an account, and then they're offering online banking, then there's this kind of banking service,
right?
And people eventually, there are ATMs now available, the ATM cards, so it's that kind of approach.
Yeah, not right ahead everything. Hey, online banking and here and there, and it's like lots of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it sounds really, really cool. You know, maybe when coming back to the social economic changes for good, what are some of the main obstacles on the way to adopting blockchain in Africa?
Right. I think the main obstacle, the first one, is education, right? But again, how do you provide education to people who actually don't think they need it? Right. So you have to find a way in which you provide this education. So
you say sorry to interrupt. You say they don't need it because they don't feel that it would bring them.
I'm saying how do you provide education to people who don't think or who don't believe they need it, right? A lot of people right now don't believe they need blockchain education.
Okay.
Because they don't see the real life value at this particular time, right? If you bring across maybe something like, okay, we're educating you to become this because there's certain careers, right? And also it's the experiences that people have had with cryptocurrencies. Also, they play a major role, because there've been a lot of scams and multi-level marketing schemes that have come along, and people have lost money, right? So how do you go to them and say, hey, here, I'm a bearer of good news, right? Well, if good news burned me at some point, because somebody also came and said, hey, I'm a bearer of good news, and this good news could change your life, right? So it's actually looking at use cases. Like I said, it's looking at their need, right? What is the need? How does blockchain meet that need, right? How can they now trust this technology? It's like telling somebody somebody is hungry, and you're telling them, actually, I'm going to teach you how to make food. They don't have the ingredients, right? Give
Yeah,
them the
yeah.
ingredients
And
and
I
show
want
them.
to eat. Like I don't need to be told. I
Exactly.
want to eat. Give me right now something,
Give them the
Yeah.
ingredients and show them how to make bread. And also, I think another thing that I've emphasized is that for a long time, blockchain was seen as a by the way thing, right? As a side thing. So, okay, I'm doing all these other things, but I'm interested in blockchain. So, at some point, I'm going to dedicate a little bit of my time to understanding this technology. Nobody really took it as something that is serious. A lot of people did not take it up as a career. So, I think the more people begin to see, like now, in my case, I have a lot of people reaching out to me because they've seen some of the things that I've done being in the blockchain space. They've seen me travel around the world. So, people are attracted by things like that, right? They might not want to put in the hard work, but they want to know, so how does she do it?
All
That
right.
way, they're looking at somebody and saying, hey, she's doing these things. I really want to know what she's up to. Maybe I can also get involved. So the more the people like us really take this seriously, the more people start to come to the table.
Yeah, yeah. And the more you share experience on how you're
Exactly.
doing it through different platforms, through different communities,
Exactly.
different events, right? The more people can learn and understand what is that you're doing, how you're doing it, how they can do it, so you
Exactly.
can make the global change, right,
Exactly.
worldwide. Yeah. I like that. That's super cool. We touched a bit, the whole COVID situation. So like with the training that you're doing, your program, and in your observation, your opinion, how did the whole COVID situation influence the whole blockchain and crypto industry? Did people, for example, start to invest more into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies? Or what are the changes, the major changes? How did it change the field for better, or did it, like, what's the influence? I'm curious about your opinion and observation.
I think, in my opinion, it actually changed the space for better, right? Because people started looking for solutions, right? So, when people begin to look for solutions because there's a problem, it actually brings about a lot of innovation, right? And there's also a demand for skills in the blockchain space, right? So it opened up a lot of things for a lot of people. And also, yeah, if you look at the cryptocurrency space, I'm not so much of a trader, but those people were buying more. At some points, the Bitcoin price was going up, so there's a lot of activity going on. And like I said, what I was really happy about is actually there were people trying to say, hey, look, we need COVID-19 solutions. What kind of blockchain solutions can people come up with,
Yeah.
right? That really made me happy, because I think once there's a problem, people begin to think differently, right? People are now no longer just interested in ICOs and in all those other things. They were interested in real life solutions, because we had a life-threatening situation.
Yeah, and you need to think differently. What kind of solutions
Exactly.
can I
Exactly.
actually have, like, for alternative solutions? Everything that is possible, right? Because you're in
Exactly.
such there's such a global problem, and no one
Mhm.
knows how to tackle it. How can we protect ourselves? How we can help others? How we can stop it? Like,
Mhm.
what are the solutions, right? Maybe, do you know some kind of solutions developed, for example, using blockchain to tackle the COVID issues, or the already results of, like, to help people, or some kind of solutions in that direction?
Actually, I did not look deeper into the solutions that were developed, but one funny thing that I came across was that there was a Corona coin.
Seriously? Yeah, people decided to,
There
let's
was
let's
there was a Corona coin, and actually, it was the higher the number of people that died, the higher it rose in value. So that was really, it wasn't a nice thing, but you'd be like, oh wow, why did somebody come up with that? I know UNICEF made a call for people to come up with solutions. A lot of organizations made calls for people to come up with solutions. How many of those solutions were effective? I cannot really tell at the moment, but there was really a push in terms of innovation when it comes to COVID-19.
think they're still probably being tested, some of the solutions.
Exactly. I mean,
We are in the process, right? And
yeah,
like it takes time, and we will see later probably. But
yeah,
some solutions could be right ahead,
exactly. I mean, if there are people
implemented.
with COVID-19 solutions, I'd really love to see those.
Yeah, cool. So everyone who is listening to us, maybe if you
Yeah,
if you are working, or if you know, you can reach out to Yaliwe on LinkedIn, right? Would that work for you?
definitely.
Yeah, and then share some of the solutions. I think it would be super interesting. Or drop me also a line
Yeah.
on a link to some solutions on LinkedIn as well. So, talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency, what's the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency? How do you think? Let's think forward, and I think should everyone right now who is listening to us, who will listen it later, start, if not yet into the field, start learning more, because this is the future, because this is it will be a new normal, right? Like right now we are using our mobile phone, and that's people would be using cryptocurrencies and pay them. So what is the future of blockchain and cryptocurrencies?
I think firstly, I would say the future is really bright for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And I'll just give another example is, look, blockchain is really breaking certain barriers, right? Especially when it comes to, I'll also go back to the unbanked, right? So there was a time, especially during the first, we had levels in South Africa, right? When it comes to COVID-19, we were moving from level 5. Right now we're in level 2, where things have been eased off a lot. But at some point, you couldn't order food on Uber Eats if you're using cash. Now imagine people with no bank account, right?
Yeah, what they say
They couldn't
hungry.
order takeaways.
Yeah,
That's just an
yeah,
example. A
yeah,
lot of organizations were not accepting cash for fear of infections.
yeah.
That really changed a lot of things for me. And I said, look, they don't have a bank account, not because if they can have some money to go and buy takeaways, there must be a red tape somewhere that's stopping them from having a bank account, right? So some people are unbanked because of certain red tapes, even when they have the ability, right? So with the use of cryptocurrencies and with the acceptance of cryptocurrencies by a lot of merchants, that would have just changed a lot of things.
Right.
So yeah, so I think there's going to be, especially now that the central banks are also looking into digital currencies, right? So there's this interest, a very high interest in blockchain and cryptocurrencies and central bank cryptocurrencies. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of movement when it comes to cryptocurrencies and blockchain solutions. And also going back, I think right now, like I said, we have to look at solutions that sometimes are close to home, right? We can't solve every problem, but we can solve some problems, right? And with we have to go back to the grassroots and say, yes, we have all the solutions that we've looked at. I spoke about all these education verifications and land registrations and voting systems. Those are so big, they'll take a long time. But there's some grassroots problems that we can go back to and say, hey, I've identified this problem. How do we create something? It doesn't have to be so big, but how do we create something to solve this problem? That way we'll see a lot of adoption.
Yeah, you can solve one problem at a time, and if
Exactly.
locally you can do something that already would make a big difference, right?
Exactly.
And I like what you're doing at United Africa Women in Blockchain. Maybe you can share more how everything got started. You shared that you started the research and then created this huge doc of, what was it, 117 pages or what? And she said oh, it sounds like already a course I can share it with other people. So how did it get started that you decided to focus on women? Did you realize, okay, there were not so many women in blockchain, or you wanted to surround yourself with women who were interested in it, and someone who may be doing something in that direction already? And what you're doing, is it active right now? I imagine you had more also offline events before the COVID situation.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole idea with the Women in Blockchain started off as a meetup. So it was every first Saturday of every month. So we'd meet up for coffee, talk about blockchain, talk about the possibilities, and then look at, hey, how do we get involved, right? So then when I became part of the United Africa Blockchain Association, we decided to formalize it. And we launched it in 2019, August. So we had like a kind of a big launch event for the Women in Blockchain and AI initiative. And we set aside classes. But at this particular time, because of COVID, we haven't really pushed the classes because everybody's like, hey, we're afraid to. So we decided to just do one train the trainer pilot. And at some point, we might have to look at maybe dividing those classes and saying, okay, can we have a focus class for young people, and can we have a focus class for maybe women or something like that? But it is something that I'm really passionate about, and at some point would really have to push it to certain boundaries. But for now, everybody's just integrated into UABA. So that is just like, okay, can we have a meeting? What are the women doing? What are we doing for Women's Month? Just small things like that.
Yeah. And are you planning to go online maybe later with some events?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think women do really miss these gatherings, I believe. And when we also had to stop some of, I'm founder of Coding Girls, and we also had to stop some of the events and sub chapters. And like, it takes time, right? Especially if you have many chapters worldwide, to find the formula that works. And the same with WomenTech Network, we had many events scheduled worldwide, and then we decided to create a big one and to go virtual.
But we're also pushing the women with cLabs and Celo. So there is a Celo ambassador program, and in South Africa currently, like half of the ambassadors are women, and they're doing phenomenal. We had Women's Month feature for the women ambassadors. So there's also that push and that drive. When it comes to blockchain, I'm actually seeing the enthusiasm from the women.
Do you think it's connected to they see you and you as a role model for them, and they say, if she can do it, I also can do it, right?
I hope so.
No, I think so. It definitely is the case, because
it's nice to, it's really nice to impact positively. So I hope so. I really do.
Yeah. I think it changes everything when you see, a female leader who could be a role model for you, and you say, hey, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. And then you say, like, we have half of them. I think it's not just a coincidence. I think it's really the impact of the things that you are doing, and you are being a role model for them, for sure. So everyone who is listening to us, if you have some questions, please do let us know in the comments. And other than that, you can, if maybe some people would like to chat privately to you, they can reach out to you on LinkedIn. They have some ideas, suggestions, projects, proposal, whatever that could be. I'm talking maybe, we talked about many things that you are doing. What are some of the skills that you had to develop, or what are some of the things that you set yourself to have to get where you are right now? As I said, you are a role model for many women. So how they can get, what they should do, for example, to become a founder, what they should do to become a chairwoman, and what helped you on the way, what kind of skills, trainings, I don't know, whatever that was for you, what did you do to actually get where you are right now?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is develop thick skin. You need thick skin. So that is the first skill, because leading is not easy. You will get frustrated, especially if you're leading a group of people, and it's a mixture of people, right? There's women, there's men. So if it was an all-woman organization, maybe it could be a little bit different, or a different story. So UABA is composed of everybody, women, men, and so and also I had to develop public speaking skills. I know at some point, I think some people say I talk a lot, but I think I had to develop public speaking skills, right? And be comfortable.
How did you do that? Did you take some classes? Did you just go there on stage and did it, and then ask for feedback and got improved? How was it, the journey?
One thing I'll be very honest with you is I'm always nervous before I speak. So I don't know if I don't know if I've developed that skill, but yes, but I just decided to be comfortable in my skin and to always tell myself that, hey, you know what you're talking about. You've got this. And sometimes you need support around you, right? Whether it's just family, it's friends, and say, hey, look, I'm feeling a little bit nervous right now. And you know, they're like people who believe in you. You need people who believe in you and who believe in what you're doing. And also, I think I had to, I'm not so good with social engagement, but I had to, sometimes I have to dedicate my time to really go back to my social media and say, hey, I have to go back to my LinkedIn, look at all my messages and respond to people that I haven't responded to. And another thing I had to get really organized and trying to see, okay, how do I do my things? Because there was a shift from just doing work that was kind of routine to really think outside the box and to grow. So I think the best thing you can ever do for yourself is just be confident that you are doing the right thing, and you're not doing it for anybody, but you're doing the right thing for you, right? And don't always listen to, you can listen to constructive criticism, but don't allow people to put you down, because that's what discourages a lot of people. If you surround yourself with people who put you down, look for people who really speak positive about what you're doing. I think I had a great circle of friends that believed in me without really seeing what I was doing, because sometimes I really did not know what I was doing. I'm
Part
being
of the
very
journey,
honest.
right?
I actually didn't know what I was doing. I was passionate, yes, but where it was going to lead me, I had no idea. And every time I felt like quitting, I always look back and say, no, you can't. Have you seen where you're coming from? Like, keep going,
Yeah.
wherever it leads, right? So um for me, in terms of the blockchain, there were no special skills that I had to develop. I just had to let my voice be heard, right? And sometimes, like I said in the beginning, you're going to make a lot of sacrifices. Do them, do what you have to do to get the recognition that you need, right? They say sacrifice before you can actually ask for your paycheck, because once you are there, you have to say, hey, look, this is my paycheck. You pay for it, or I'm not doing it. It comes to that point. But in the beginning, you really have to push your boundaries. And like I said, for us in the beginning, there were not so many women that were in the space, right? So you had to really advocate for yourself. Right now, there are women in the space who can actually advocate for you, and who can point opportunities in your direction if there are opportunities out there, right? So you are a privilege, because there are already women in the space that are actually making a real impact. I mean, a lot of people are part of the WomenTech network right now. And I mean, that's a great platform. Already there are a lot of opportunities that are being pointed in people's direction, you see? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's interesting what you're sharing about your experience, how it skills to be acquired, and like, because I think sometimes people think that like, oh, it's too complicated, it's too hard, I probably will
Oh,
fail, I shouldn't be starting. Like, I don't have this skills, I don't have tech background. I have tech background, but I don't have public speaking skills. Whatever it is,
exactly.
right? That blocking is you, so you need just to keep going. It's messy. It's like you're not clear what you're doing, as you said, like. Yeah, but to surround yourself with a support network to support
Exactly.
you in
And not everybody can be the same person in this space, right? You have to find what really drives you, right? What is it
yeah.
that you love to do? I feel like in the blockchain space right now, there's opportunity for everybody, right? There's opportunity for people, for lawyers in the space, right? You could be a lawyer and still be involved in blockchain. You could be anybody and still be involved in blockchain. So what
Yeah.
is it that really drives you? And I think you should work on that and perfect that.
Yeah, like that. So what is the next step in your career for you? I know you're doing many things, and like I love,
Yes.
like, especially your project on financial inclusion for women,
Yeah.
and yeah. So what is the next big thing? Or
Well,
there are many
the
of them.
Well, the next big thing in the blockchain space or in general?
For you, I mean, in general.
Okay, so I think the next big thing is really I'm working on a cosmetic brand, by the way.
Cool. I
So
know
that's
you're passionate about fashion, right? You did
yeah,
something
yeah.
about
So that's one of
fashion.
the
Yeah.
things that I'm working on. But I feel like in the blockchain space, it's high time that we make a real impact, and I'm hoping to really achieve real usability and real impact, like really beyond the talk. That is why I went ahead and started looking into this lending platform and trying to see how it's going to work. But the next big thing, well, I want to be on Forbes.
Yeah, I'm sure it will happen. Sooner or later it will definitely happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool, cool. I think you deserve to be there and with
thank
everything what
you.
you're doing and going to do because from the conversation with you, I see how much effort you're putting. You already know a lot and then you learn more and more and like implement more and more and surround yourself with cool people and then in like global network.
Yeah.
Maybe the final message that you'd like to share with everyone who is working with blockchain and crypto or who is just interested in learning more, what would that be?
Okay, so for everybody working in blockchain and crypto, what I would say is let's look for real problems and solve real problems. Let's look for grassroots problems, problems that are close to heart and near us, and let's make that impact, right? Once we empower those communities, the communities will become our voice and will move a step closer to adoption. And for people that want to get involved in blockchain, I mean, it's still an open space. They're not experts at the moment. We're still learning. It's not too late to get involved in whatever capacity you get involved, right? Whether you just want to learn and or whether you want to innovate, just get involved. Just get started. Read a lot. There's a lot of information on YouTube, and you can reach out to us, and we'll be there to help. We might not always be available, but we will make time.
And you have a YouTube channel, I know, right? There's
I
lots of
haven't
info
been
on
active,
YouTube.
I haven't been active on YouTube. Let me go back to YouTube at some
Okay,
point.
we need a recent video. Now the audience is asking for it. Yeah. No, I love that. I love the message, and I think that definitely is needed. And like as you said, the space is still young. So if
Yeah,
everyone who is searching for themselves, they could enter the space and find their spot to create some role
definitely.
that would be
Yeah,
instrumental into solving a real problem, as you said. I really
exactly.
like
Yeah.
that. So thank you very much, Yaliwe, for this fantastic chat. I learned a lot, discovered new things, like love what you're doing and your mission. And we are looking forward, as I said, to having you as a speaker at our events. And everyone who is joining us on Hopin, feel free to go to the networking area. It will start in 3 minutes. And you can benefit from one-on-one networking. Yaliwe, if you have some time, I know you're super busy, and if you have some time, you can just after our chat, you can go for some networking with us as well. I'm sure there are many people who would love to chat with you. And so the best way would be to connect with you on LinkedIn, right?
Yes,
As you said,
definitely. Definitely.
we shared your link now in our chat on Hopin. And yeah, well, very, 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 very nice. I'm very happy that you made time for us to have this conversation today, and I'm wishing you a great evening, right? I think it's just, you mentioned that it's late where you are, and then see you online and maybe one day in person. That I would love
Oh,
that,
yes, definitely.
know.
It was great being here, and thank you for inviting me once again.
My pleasure, our pleasure.
All right.
Thank you very much. Bye bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
So, everyone, how did you like the conversation? And I hope you enjoyed our chat with Yaliwe Soko. We shared the link to her profile. You can find her on LinkedIn. And if you have an interesting idea in the blockchain field and you can share with her the projects that you're working on. And as she mentioned, this is a space that still needs minds with ideas, and you can find there your place. And let us know, how do you feel about the chat? How did you like it? Let us know in the comments if you're watching the recording later. We will be back in 2 weeks with another guest of ours. Her name is Alana Karan. She's Director of Search Platforms at Google. We will be talking about her upcoming book, It's called The Adventures of Women in Tech, How We Got Here and Why We Stay. We will cover topics like belonging, well-being, career journeys, and more. And it's going to be an interesting conversation, I'm sure. The date is September 23rd. And in general, if you're looking more inspired and informative content, you can follow WomenTech Network on social media. We are active on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. We have also a YouTube channel where you can find some of the conversations, some of the talks that we had at WomenTech Global Conference 2020. Some of them are already available for public, and some of the fireside chats that we do regularly, and more of interesting and cool content to inspire you, to give you some insights, and to empower you to grow professionally. I'm wishing you a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are. Thanks a lot for joining us. And as mentioned, if you're unhappy, the networking area is already live, so you can go and benefit from one-on-one networking. And wishing you all a great day, great time, and see you online. Bye-bye.